I gotta ask this question, man,
Sure.
because I'm sure you get it often. I know you've done a lot of these. Is this your first faith full interview, man? My, my friends and I, we have a bet
Yeah.
that this may be the first. And if it
It
is,
is. It
okay, I
is.
win. I win.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I'll
Yeah.
pass that on to you, man. First, man, how's your dad doing?
He is doing okay. And in the it's hard. You've got he, his diagnosis hasn't changed from when it was originally announced. Is that he had stage 4 prostate cancer, and when it metastasized to his bones, um, and not in such an invasive and expansive way that he can not it's not fully debilitating in any way. He went on into treatment, radiation, and then the typical treatment as it relates to metastatic bone cancer is hormone therapy, and it's working. It is not. It stopped the continued growth of the bone cancer for now, but I think what kind of went viral for whatever reason is not that his diagnosis has changed in any way. It's the way that I talked about it, which I think is the way that I hope everybody can start talking about things that are universal. I don't know anyone that doesn't have a family member
Yeah.
that suffered from cancer or from some debilitating disease or life-threatening disease, but almost always the cancer. And we all know what that's like. It's scary. It's scary for more less for him because he's so tough, but more for me. I mean, he's the he's the rock of our family, not because he was of who he is, but of how he is with us. He's the center of our family and the center of each one of our lives, down to my his great grandchild, and so it's hard, man. It's hard, to live with that.
It's tough, and it's tough to watch a family member just go through it, man. And
Yeah.
yours happens to be very public, to which I'm sorry for on some regards, man, because it can't be as private as you need for it to be, to even deal with it because
Well,
you're.
let me say something about that. It is, I appreciate that. But the truth of the matter is that having to go through all of these things in the public way that we've had to go through them, the other side of it has been an incredible gift.
Wow.
The number of prayers and support and love that you receive is just astounding, whether it's around my issues with addiction or whether it's around the health diagnoses that have lived out in the public for my dad, for my brother, for all of us. And sometimes I feel guilty about it. I feel
Wow.
guilty with the knowledge that most people have to go through it alone, or with their or at least they feel very alone in it.
Yeah.
The way that I've accepted this grace into my life is that it's all a gift. It's a gift of your prayers, the gift of the prayers of people I will never meet, the kindness that people have afforded not just me but my whole family. It's an incredibly beautiful thing, and
Mm,
so there's a trade off. The other
yeah.
side of it is sometimes you wish that you could have a little bit of your a little bit of a grace in the privacy of it and the dignity of being able to do it. But the other side of it is that, man, I just don't know how people do it that
Mm,
that don't have the support network that I've been gifted with my whole life.
mm. Has it deepened your faith, Hunter, going through
Oh,
this, man?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, I'm Catholic, and I don't attend church as much as I should. But I have a deep faith, not a religious faith, but a deep faith in the idea that we are all the children of God. We are all connected. That we all that in reality is that we are all in the body of whatever you want to refer to, and I refer to as God. Is
Mm.
that each one of us has an obligation to the other because there is no distance between us, and that we are, and in that universal and kind of perennial philosophy is an incredibly beautiful thing, which is that we are our brother's keepers, and that's to me that's my faith.
There's so much power to just saying hello to people, Hunter. I think that we don't
Yes,
tap into, man.
yes,
I mean, if I was
yeah.
ever going to write a book, it would really be the power of hello, man.
That's so. I say that. I don't say those. You're more articulate about it, but that's exactly right. I say to people when you sit down at a table and a server comes up to your table, ask them their name.
Yeah.
Just literally, and
Basic.
like think about it in your own life. Just that connection, just that hello, just that it literally it transforms a day. It can transform a life.
It can, man. It
Yeah,
really does. Man, I got to ask this question because Miss Robin Jackson, who is your mom's prayer partner, is a good friend of
yeah,
mine, man.
yeah.
And she asked her this question, which is so just penetrating to me, man. How is your faith, man?
Today, my faith is
Yeah.
strong.
Huh.
In the and the reason is this: is that from the outside, what it looks like, my life in the past 7 years or 10 years, it looks like a nightmare. And,
Man.
I can't hide from it. The pictures are all out there. The public shaming of me over the course of the past 7 years has been ubiquitous. It's everywhere, and I think, understandably, at least from an empathetic viewpoint, people think, "Oh my God, I feel so sorry for you. I feel so sorry for you." But from a faith standpoint, this is how I see it. I was given the greatest gift that I could be given to save my life at a moment in time in which I did not think I had any hope. I was given the gift of complete and utter transparency. I could not hide from my faults and my sins. I I had to either I had to own them all. I had to own the things that were true and clarify the things that were not. But
Mm.
more than anything is that I had no more secrets. And I think that something that we say in recovery that is absolutely true is we are only as sick as our secrets. And
Wow.
instead of it being some courage that I had to muster, which most everyone else does, I was given the gift of it being all laid out there, bare for everyone to see,
Mm.
whether I wanted it or not. And I had to make a choice.
Mm.
Did I believe that God was still in my life and get out of bed and live? Or do I curl up and die? Do I choose to use again? Do I choose to anesthetize myself? Do I choose to live in the shame? And I always say to people, and particularly, and I think that as a man of faith yourself, you'll get this immediately, is that guilt is an appropriate emotion. Guilt is an appropriate reaction to something when you do wrong, and it is incumbent upon us as individually to make amends with the people that we've harmed or that we've hurt. Shame, however, is not.
Mm.
Shame is you telling yourself that you're not worthy for the love that is being granted you by God
Wow.
or by another. And I don't live in that shame anymore. And I wish I could say that the way that I got there was through some practice of prayer, but the way that I got there is because they forced me into this binary choice, and I look at it as a gift now. I look at what they did to me, which is awful and wrong, and I don't recommend it for anybody.
Right.
but 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 but
Yeah.
I look at it as an incredible gift that every day I now get to make the choice is that am I going to live in service of others or in service of some lie? And I get to live in service of others.
Man, where in that journey, because you were in the public eye for such a long time, Hunter, through the
Yeah.
shame period.
Yeah.
When that did you maybe wake up and say, aha, I'm going to live in service of others, man?
Well, I it wasn't a it didn't happen in an instance. But I can say that the moment that I truly had to make that choice of whether or not I was going to get up and live or curl up and die was
Mhm.
when the October surprise of the quote unquote laptop, which
Mm,
was evidence of only one thing. It was evidence of my addiction and all that comes with it. It didn't represent what they wanted to represent, so they conflated my addiction with this idea of a corruption or things like that. And in fact, 20 years of my digital life, my digital footprint, every voicemail, every deleted photograph, everything from my iCloud,
mm,
it was laid bare without context for the whole world to see. One thing that it does prove is that never one time did I ever or did my ask my father to do something on behalf of a client of mine or somebody, or in any way uh, ask him to do something that used his authority to get something done because I was getting paid.
mm,
And so, but in that moment when that story broke, it was it was almost impossible for me to explain the level of fear that it had created, that there was going to be like all of these pictures, all, like
yeah.
pictures of me smoking crack and pictures of me engaged in drug use and pictures of me in motel rooms and things like that. And the level of embarrassment and humiliation that comes along with that on a scale like that is beyond anything that I can explain.
Mm.
But
Yeah, I can't even imagine, Hunter, because
yeah,
I think we all have something that we've said to somebody or looked
yeah,
up that you just go,
everybody. I
"Man,
should
what
say,
would
show
happen
me
here?"
yours. Yeah, yeah,
Me
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah,
Um, which leads to this question, man, because you were just on Tucker Carlson's show, man,
yeah,
which was an interesting just interview, just in general. But he actually asked for forgiveness, basically, man,
yeah.
through that. So, how do you handle people come to you and go, "Hey, I've wronged you," and Tucker, I got to give him applause on this. I mean, he did it, in front of the whole world, which I always say to folks. However, you ruin someone, say something about somebody, and if you need their forgiveness, you need to do that same level, man. So if you did
Yeah.
it publicly, you need to do it publicly as well. He did it publicly, man.
Yeah.
How did you accept his apology, man?
With an enormous amount of gratitude, an
Oh,
enormous amount of gratitude. It's, as uh, it's so hard. I think everyone will understand this, to admit when you're wrong, but to do it in a way in which you do it in front of the person
yeah, man. Yeah,
and that has been hurt by it. Um, that takes um, it takes a lot to do that. Think about it in your own life, and just think about it in your own family. How hard it is sometimes to say sorry to your wife when
yeah,
you're wrong. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And it takes and so I accepted it with uh, with an enormous amount of gratitude. It is, and that's why, all these people out there say, well, what are you sitting down with Tucker Carlson for? What are you sitting down with Candace Owens? Or what are you sitting, why are you having conversations with people?
Yeah,
Because I'm a firm believer in this. There's more that connects us than divides us. I don't believe we're nearly as divided as they tell us that we are. I believe that we're being divided on purpose, not because that is the reality. And while I disagree vehemently with Tucker Carlson on many things, is that if he has the capacity and the humanity enough to sit in front of me and apologize for the things that he said and did in service of others to denigrate me and my father, then I uh, I am nothing but grateful for that. And I
mm,
think when people can realize that, see the humanity in other people. I mean, that's the same thing with Candace Owens. Like, I say to Candace all the time, like, you know, I don't agree with so much of the of what you of your policy positions or the things that you feel about this group or that group. but um, but you know what? I accept not only your apology, but I saw in her the humanity and that the realization that some of those positions that she comes to, uh, that who am I to question the authenticity of that? And so, anyway, I just think we get we're a lot better off when we're talking to each other than when we're shouting at each other over the transom.
I couldn't agree more. I had a family member. I won't say who that person is, but they said, Mina, Hunter has gone rogue. He didn't sit down with Candace.
Yeah, yeah,
And then they called me afterward. I guess they saw some of it. I've not seen the
yeah,
interview, Hunter.
yeah,
They called me up and they said, it wasn't that bad after all. I just thought,
yeah,
man, it's interesting when we go face to face on what happens, man,
yeah,
when that
yeah.
takes place. Hey, in your book, which I read, by the way,
Oh,
uh,
thank you.
I actually could not put it down, Hunter. I was flying
Okay.
back from the West Coast, man, and
Yeah,
I was like, this is good. Um,
thank you.
you say in the book that you actually compare yourself to the prodigal son, man. And that struck me as like, not odd, but it struck me as like very painful to read, man.
Yeah.
When you share that with your dad, as a father myself, and your dad too, how did he how did he take that, man?
Oh, he's an amazing dad. I
Yeah,
mean, I if I'm half the dad that he is, I will have been a success in life. And I always say about my dad is that our relationship, and I think people get very confused by, is that unconditional love is not love without consequences. Unconditional love is not love without accountability.
mm,
Unconditional love is simply leaving the door open that no matter what, is that love will be there to carry you through whatever struggle or obstacle that you're facing.
mm,
And part of that may be owning up to and becoming honest with yourself and becoming honest with the people around you.
mm,
And and the thing about my dad was that there was never a moment in time where I was not certain that that door would always be open
mm,
if I choose to come back through it. And I say to people, it's really, really hard when you fall down this well, this darkness of your own, sometimes your own making and your own disease, and mine being the addiction, is that it's hard to climb up on your own. You have to. There, the, it's like being in a tunnel, and without the light at the end, it's really easy to lose hope. And he was always there, shining a light down back towards me
mm.
that helped me find my way home. So in that sense, the parable of the prodigal son, it fits in many ways. Is that I took what were incredible gifts of privilege that I had. The single most important one being the son of a man who is, I think, per, uh, lived his public life with more dignity and honor than anyone I know.
Yeah,
And the honest answer is that for a period of time I made a mess of that. I truly made a mess of that. And a lot of it had to do with addiction, but not all of it. And the fact of the matter is that addiction, I always say, is never an excuse, never an excuse for your behavior, the things that you did, but it's often an explanation. And that is the way in which my dad treated me. Didn't excuse my behavior, but it explained it and gave me the grace enough to be able to, to be honest about it.
man. If I was in church right now, man, I'd be running around saying hallelujah to that statement because I've
Okay.
never heard it said that way before. It is
Yeah.
an explanation more than anything else.
Yeah.
Man, did your father's love and grace and patience, how much did that contribute, and your mom too, in fact, how much did that contribute to you coming out of that, man?
Oh, it's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's what we go back to what we were originally saying, connection.
Mm.
is that once what the disease of addiction will do is, here's one thing that I always say to people, and I think the hardest answer for the question for an addict to answer from someone who has not experienced addiction, which is very few of us, by the way, very
Right.
few of us out there, is why. Why do you do something that you know is killing you? Why do you do something that you know is destroying everything around you and everything in its wake, including your relationships and the people and your relationship with the ones that you know or that love you? Why do you do that? And
Mm.
the real true answer is this: is because at first it works. Because
Yeah.
at first the substance is truly it is a legitimate answer to the pain that you're feeling. It's a legitimate answer to the anxiety and angst and feeling of being disconnected that you feel. All of a sudden it works, and it works until it doesn't. It is, I mean, I don't know how many stories in scripture that are exactly this. It's that the thing that you feel that you reach for, the ephemeral solution to your problem, whether it's money or whether it's possessions or whether it's sex or whether it's whatever it is, are never truly the answer. The
Yeah.
answer is inside of you,
Yeah.
because inside of you is that God. And so to answer your question of I forget what the question was now.
No, just that,
Yeah.
just that. It seems like your dad and your mom, uh,
Oh, yeah.
they
Yeah.
helped you
Yeah.
out of that.
Oh, 100%. And what I mean by that is that they never disconnected. I always say to people is that there's a saying in recovery is that, you just got to let them hit bottom. And I couldn't disagree with that more. I just couldn't
Wow.
disagree with that more. The people that I know that hit bottom, they're dead. They're dead or in jail.
Yeah.
And jail may be something that sometimes is the thing that saves you, but most of the people that I know, the true bottom is dead. And I'm not saying to people, addiction is not just a disease of the individual; it's a family disease. It affects everybody, and I'm not saying that you have to subject yourself to the abuse that an addict may exhibit. And I'm not saying that you put your own self in jeopardy or the people that you love in jeopardy just to continue a connection to the addict. But what I am saying is this: is that to the degree that you can allow them to know that your love and support is always there, to keep reaching out, to keep letting them know that. It's the thing that saved me.
Hmm. Hunter, last three questions, man. I want to stay true to our time and thank you for
All
your time.
right, but I got plenty of time. Yeah.
So appreciate this. Man, I've always wanted to ask you this question, and I've told my friends about when my friends have asked me about you, I've told them this too. So I've always wanted to ask you this question: how much did your addiction contribute to losing a parent? Man, I've lost a child, and me, your mom, and I talked about this. Most painful thing ever, man. I hands down. And
Yeah.
so she, we're talking about this of losing a child. She, of course, uh,
Yeah.
so this has gone through as well. How much of that did that contribute to your addiction, man?
So that is the $1 million question in
Yeah,
all of addiction. And I am one of the reasons that I'm out here talking. Not one of the reasons, the reason that I'm out here talking is to raise awareness about this and to have a public conversation about something that is that 50 million Americans on a daily basis are suffering from, which means that all 350 million of us are affected by it in some way, in some very deep way. What's the root cause? Well, I believe in my after listening to people like Dr. Gabor Mate and others, is that trauma is is central to it. Unresolved trauma in particular, and so, but I also do believe that there's a genetic component to it, and so the combination of those two things, combined with the with the chemical reaction that occurs and that is emboldened and enforced over time in terms of the way that it rewires your brain all play a role. But trauma, absolutely 100% certain. And if you go and listen to some of the things that the lectures that Dr. Mate have given, and he's one of the foremost experts on this, is that um, trauma is at the root of so much of any addiction.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Next last question. In fact, I could not walk off of this interview and tell my friends if I did not ask this question because it was the number one question that all my friends wanted me to ask you.
Yeah.
Man, number one question. They're like, "Hey, is he
Yeah.
going to run for something later?" And so, Hunter, do you want to announce anything right now that you
Yeah.
want to run for? Man, anything at
Well,
all.
by the way, I don't know. Would it make them happy if I did, or would
Well, I had a number of them who'd be very happy about that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
had a number who'd be very
no,
concerned, Hunter.
yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah, yeah. Well, here's the answer that I've been given. Okay, if I'm announced, if I announce for elected office, somebody should check to see whether or not I relapsed. Okay.
No desire.
Yeah. No, here's the thing. The honest answer that I always give is that I don't think that there's anything more noble than to practice the politics that my dad showed me is capable of. One in which you are your entire focus is about being of service to your constituents and to the people and to this country. The way in which he conducted himself over the course of his over 5 decades in public life, I can't think of anything more honorable to do with your life. For me, however, right now, I have an opportunity to speak to the 50 million Americans that are still. I don't, and if I infuse politics or elected office in that, I don't think that it would do. I don't think I would be serving uh, I don't think I would be serving the mission that I believe as God sent. And I don't mean to aggrandize myself with that. And here's the thing about service to others, as you know more than I do. It's so selfish. I get more out of it than I could possibly ever give. It keeps me clean. It keeps me sober. It keeps me happy. Provides joy in my life. I wake up today and I realize I get to talk to people that are addicts, and maybe one of them hears my voice and doesn't drink today. What greater gift? There's no amount of money. There's no amount of fame. There's no elected office in the world in which I think that I could get more. And so from a purely selfish standpoint, that's what I'm focusing on.
Hmm. I got to ask this question. It was my last one, man, because people don't know how hard the grind is to get interviews. If they knew, they would not
Uh,
like this job.
yeah,
they,
yeah,
they would
yeah,
go, "Are you
yeah,
crazy?" So I
yeah,
got this question, man, because you didn't have to. What made you want to talk to the faith community, man? Because you could have said no,
yeah,
and it would have been okay. I still would have loved, who your mom and dad, are as
yeah,
people. And
yeah.
so you could have said no. Why did you want to say yes to this, man?
When I was growing up, and throughout my entire life, is this community has been it's central to the my faith in people,
Mm,
and the expression of love that I have received from particularly the faith community, the Black community in Delaware growing up. It was central to my whole life. When I went to trial in Delaware, I looked behind me, and there was Reverend Beeman, and there was Ty, and there all of the faith leaders from the sorry.
mm.
Sorry,
No,
I
you're
don't know
good.
why it's making me so emotional.
No, you're good.
Um, uh, the answer is because I owe it to this community.
Wow. Wow. Well, I don't. I hate to end this interview with you tearing up, man. I wish I had another.
No, it I'm sorry.
You're good,
It's
man.
making me emotional because these are happy tears. It Anyway. Thanks.
Oh man, when people are there for you, you
Yeah.
remember it, man. I mean,
Yep.
you remember it when they're not
Yeah.
there too, but you definitely it stings
Yep.
when they're there. Well, man,
Yeah.
can you please pass on to your dad and especially to your mom that I'm praying for your dad
I
daily.
will. I appreciate it.